The daughter who said, "You're not my problem anymore." Eleanor Whitaker turned 73 on a rainy Tuesday in late October, the kind of rain that soaks through umbrellas and makes the streets of Seattle gleam like polished steel. She woke early, as always, made coffee in the same blue pot she'd used since the Nixon administration, and sat at the kitchen table watching water streak the window. The house on Queen Anne Hill was quiet now. Too quiet since Henry passed 4 years earlier. But it was hers, paid off, warm, filled with books and the faint smell of cedar from the window boxes Henry had built. Her phone buzzed at 7:14 a.m., a group text from her 3 children, Lauren, Michael, and Sarah. The message thread was titled Mom's Birthday and had been active since yesterday. Lauren, the eldest, 48, corporate lawyer in San Francisco. "Happy birthday, Mom. Hope you have a wonderful day. We're thinking of you." Michael, 45, tech consultant in Austin. "Yeah, happy B-Day, Mom. Sorry we can't be there. Work's insane." Sarah, 41, marketing director in Denver. "Love you, Mom. Sending virtual hugs. Let us know if you need anything." Eleanor smiled faintly. Virtual hugs. She typed back, "Thank you, darlings. I'm having a quiet day. Love you all." Then she set the phone face down and went to water the ferns. The second message came at 11:42 p.m. that night. She was already in bed, reading the last chapters of a novel about a woman who leaves everything behind to live on a remote island, when the screen lit up on the nightstand. Lauren, "Mom, we need to be honest with you. We've been talking, a lot. We love you, but we're not going to be able to take care of you when things get hard. We each have our own families, careers, responsibilities. You're not our problem anymore. We hope you understand. We just want to be clear so there are no surprises later." Eleanor stared at the words until they blurred. Michael, "Yeah, sorry to say it this way, but it's better to be upfront. We're not moving back to Seattle. We can't uproot everything. You've always been independent. We figured you'd want to keep it that way." Sarah, "Mom, please don't take this the wrong way. We're not abandoning you. We'll still visit when we can. But full-time caregiving? No, we can't do that. It's not fair to expect it." Eleanor read the messages twice, then a third time. She felt something shift inside her chest. Not heartbreak exactly, but a cold, clean snap, like a branch breaking under too much ice. She did not reply that night. The next morning, she made coffee again. Same pot, same chair, same rain. Then she opened her laptop, logged into her banking portal, and stared at the number she had never really looked at closely in years. Henry had handled most of the investments. After he died, she'd simply let the advisor continue the same conservative strategy. She had never needed much. Now she needed clarity. She called Margaret Klein, the financial advisor she'd met exactly once at Henry's memorial. Margaret answered on the second ring. "Eleanor, is everything all right?" "I'd like to meet," Eleanor said. "Today, if possible." Margaret's office was on the 23rd floor of a glass tower downtown. The view was gray and beautiful. Eleanor wore the navy wool coat Henry had bought her in London 30 years ago. It still fit perfectly. Margaret listened without interrupting while Eleanor explained the text messages. She read them aloud from her phone, voice steady. When she finished, Margaret leaned back. "What do you want to do, Eleanor?" "I want to stop being their retirement plan," Eleanor said, "and I want to start being mine." They spent 3 hours going over accounts. The house was worth $2.1 million. Investments totaled $3.8 million. Life insurance payout from Henry had been reinvested wisely. Pension, Social Security, a small annuity. More than enough for one woman who still gardened, walked 3 miles a day, and read voraciously. Margaret suggested a revocable living trust first, then perhaps irrevocable elements for protection. Eleanor listened, asked questions, took notes in the small leather journal she always carried. "I want to create something meaningful," Eleanor said at the end. "Not just protect the money, use it." Margaret smiled for the first time. "Tell me more." Eleanor had been thinking about it since the moment she read the texts. There was the women's shelter downtown where she'd volunteered for 15 years before Henry's illness forced her to stop. There was the literacy program for immigrant women she'd quietly donated to since the 1990s. There was the small community college where she'd taken art classes after the children left home, where the instructor, Maria Delgado, had once told Eleanor her watercolors showed quiet courage. And there was the scholarship idea. Eleanor had gone to community college herself at night while raising 3 children and working full-time as a librarian. She'd never finished her bachelor's. Henry had encouraged her to go back after the kids were grown, but life kept happening. She didn't resent it. She simply wanted other women to have the chance she hadn't fully taken. "I want to fund scholarships," she told Margaret. "Full ride for women over 40 returning to school, single mothers, immigrants, women starting over after divorce or loss. And I want one named after Lauren." Margaret raised an eyebrow. "After your daughter?" "Yes, the Lauren Whitaker's Second Chance Scholarship, but with conditions." The conditions were simple and ironclad. The recipient must be a woman over 40, she must demonstrate financial need, she must write a short essay about the second chance she was seeking. Under no circumstances could Lauren Whitaker or any of Eleanor's children receive any benefit from the fund, serve on its board, or claim public association with it. Margaret made notes. "You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." Over the next 2 months, Eleanor worked quietly. She met with an estate attorney recommended by Margaret, a calm, silver-haired woman named Priya Patel, who listened to Eleanor's story without judgment. She updated her trust. The house would go into the trust upon her death, sold, proceeds divided, 40% to the women's shelter, 30% to the literacy program, 20% to the community college scholarship fund, with the Lauren Whitaker Second Chance Scholarship as the flagship award, and 10% divided among her 3 grandchildren, placed in irrevocable education trusts that would mature at age 25, bypassing their parents completely. She left each of her children $50,000 cash, enough to feel noticed, not enough to rely on. She also wrote 3 letters, one for each child. She sealed them and gave copies to Priya with instructions to deliver them after Eleanor's death. Then she waited. The confrontation came on Christmas Eve. Lauren flew in unannounced. She arrived at 4:17 p.m., suitcase in hand, eyes red from crying on the plane. Eleanor opened the door in her favorite green sweater. "Mom," Lauren said, voice breaking, "I'm so sorry. The text. We were drunk. We were stressed. Michael's startup is failing. Sarah's husband lost his job, and I've been working 80-hour weeks. We panicked. We didn't mean it." Eleanor stepped aside. "Come in. It's cold." They sat in the living room. The tree was small, decorated with ornaments the children had made in elementary school. Eleanor offered tea. Lauren declined. "I talked to the others," Lauren said. "We want to fix this. We'll come more often. We'll help with the house. Whatever you need." Eleanor sipped her tea. "You already told me what I can expect. I believed you." Lauren's face crumpled. "Mom, please. We were wrong. We're scared. We love you." "You love the idea of me being there when you need something. That's different." She stood, walked to the small secretary desk Henry had restored, and took out a folder. Inside was a single page, a summary of the trust changes. She handed it to Lauren. Lauren read. Her hands began to tremble. "The scholarship? Named after me?" "Yes." "But I can't touch it?" "No." Lauren looked up, eyes wide. "You're giving everything away?" "Not everything. I'm keeping enough to live comfortably. The rest will do more good elsewhere." Lauren stood. "This is because of one stupid text?" "No," Eleanor said. This is because of 30 years of quiet assumptions, because every time I offered help, you took it without thanks, because you assumed I would always be the safety net, because you forgot that I was a person before I was your mother. Lauren began to cry. I'm sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't undo clarity. Lauren left that night. She didn't take the guest room. The next morning, Eleanor woke to snow, rare for Seattle. She walked to the market for fresh bread and flowers. On the way back, she passed the women's shelter. She stopped, watched women coming and going, carrying children, groceries, hope. She smiled. Months passed. Lauren tried again, flowers, phone calls, long emails filled with guilt. Michael and Sarah followed. They offered vacations, offered to pay for home care, offered anything. Eleanor was polite. She answered, she listened, she never wavered. In April, she received the first scholarship application packet from the community college. 37 women, 37 stories of starting over. She read every essay. She cried over several. She chose the first recipient, a 46-year-old Vietnamese immigrant named Lan, widowed, raising 2 teenage sons, working nights as a janitor, dreaming of becoming a nurse. Eleanor met Lan at the scholarship luncheon. Lan hugged her so tightly, Eleanor felt the woman's heartbeat. Thank you, Lan whispered. You gave me back my future. Eleanor smiled. No, dear, you did that. I just opened the door. Word spread slowly. The scholarship was mentioned in the local paper. Eleanor declined interviews. She preferred anonymity. Lauren saw the article anyway. She called. Mom, the scholarship. My name is on it. Yes. I don't deserve it. I know. That's why it matters. Silence on the line. I'm proud of you, Mom, Lauren finally said. Thank you. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. It was acknowledgement. Eleanor hung up and went into her studio, the spare bedroom she'd turned into a painting space. She set up a fresh canvas. She painted the rain over Elliott Bay, gray and silver and alive. She was 74 now. She still walked every morning. She still read voraciously. She still drank coffee from the blue pot. She no longer waited for her children to become the family she'd hoped for. She had become her own family, and that, she discovered, was enough. More than enough.